morning. It's September 13th, and we're at the Grand Teton Lodge, just outside of Jackson, Wyoming. And we're just coming to breakfast, but we thought we'd take a little view here. And look at this view.
These little car coins that are on your tables, Janet Serb did those, and they were a blast. So everybody that's in a photo, there's a coin here with your car on it. And also, she can make these Cobra cookies. I don't know if you checked out the form of these things tonight.
Awesome.
But thank you, Janet, so much.
And they said that if you look at black bear scat, it's got nut shells in it, it's got little rodent bones, and you know, I don't know why you're looking at it that close, but that's what you're doing. You look at all that stuff and you figure it out. And if you look at the grizzly bear scat, it's got a lot bigger bones and it's got little bells in it.
All right, today we're going to go on one driving group, all 30 cars. We're going to go out of the park, down 89 to Jackson Hole. We're going to kind of bypass the center of town and then head on over to, what's the name of the joint? Wilson, and then Driggs. At Driggs, there's an aircraft museum there. We're going to stop at that aircraft museum, $24.90 and lower. We'll stop and get fuel right out in front of the aircraft museum. The rest of the cars will go to the museum. That's our potty stop. Buy a hat, have a cup of coffee.
Hey, your car sounds funny. Hear it?
Yeah.
I just put an exhaust whistle in your tailpipe. It's filtering down now. Man, we've had a great drive from Yellowstone Lake. We were shooting into the sun, so I couldn't really take a picture very well. But it was a nice winding road, looking down at a canyon. It was beautiful. And we're stopped here for just a little potty break. Well, we've had a great, spectacular run up here. We're stopping here before we go up over Beartooth Pass. Well, here we are on our way up to Beartooth Pass, but road construction this time of year is normal. So we'll pan around. We just missed a really good view. A really, really good one. Road going all the way up the top. Probably can't, but it's going up there. above timberline, as you can see. And we're going back up. There we are at over 10,000 feet. Tour leaders. Steve, what's that noise, Steve?
You put a whistle in my zombie cover, dude. We got a chipmunk butt in that thing, I think.
well, we didn't have a lot of money in my family, so we used like, you know, paper bags, right? But this kid came up to me and gave me, he knew I liked cars, so he gave me a book cover with cars on it. And it had Jaguar and Lotus and Healy and stuff. And it had this car called a Cobra. And that was the first impression I ever had of a Cobra. I remember the book cover was green, and it was on my history book, and that was it. So I don't know what it is. We were speaking today outside. There's something chemical that goes on for some people when they see that shape. That's it. So that became, you know, the image that stayed with me. And when the model kit came out, I bought a model, and I painted it red, I painted it blue, and I painted it yellow. You know, it was like Carol's first car, you know, CSX 2000. I painted my little model in it. And you know, when Cobras were 20,000, well, I had like 1,000, and when I had 20,000, they were 200,000. So I like, well, it's something I'm never going to have. But what it did was, I think, it became the carrot in my life that hung in front of me that I was going to become successful, not to have a big house, not to have a big bank account. I was going to become successful so I could own a Cobra. And 10 years ago, I had a company, and somebody came along and said, we're going to give you this much money for it. And I said, it's yours. I told my wife, it's Cobra time. And, you know, I have to say that I feel so fortunate to be part of this group. I'll leave it at that, but I just want to say that the kid that gave me the book cover in 4th grade was Ray Baldelli.
And he didn't have any money for it. He was he just finished med school, and he was starting his internship. And my father had put money aside in my bank account for college. So I thought, that's my money. And my brother came to me and said, my bank won't loan me any money because I'm a bad credit risk. I'll give you 1% more if you loan me the money than the bank's giving you right now. I said, sure. I didn't even think to ask my father, was that okay? I just said, sure, just take the money. And so he bought a 289 Cotter for $4,950 in 1969, and we had a blast. But as the banker, I said, but the deal is, when you can't drive it, I get to drive it. And here I was 18 years old, a senior in high school. Well, he's doing an internship. He worked 110 hours a week. He could never drive it, so I got to drive it all the time. So it's a great deal. But then he decided, after we blew the engine up, and after having to go down and cut the trees down around the doctor's parking lot in the wintertime so it wouldn't fall on the car, because it was his only car. He drove it year-round, snow, rain, whatever. He said, okay, I got to sell this. It's not completely practical. And some young whippersnapper from New Jersey, who just graduated from college, Ned Scudder, came down and bought the car. And I was heartbroken. But what could I say? So it took me about, when was that, 1971?
72.
All right. So he bought it in 71, and it wasn't until 1987 that I had the money that I could buy another Cobra. But I finally did, and I bought 2 at once because I didn't think the first one would ever get delivered. It was a guy that lived up in Ohio, and I paid down payment. He said, well, I'll get it to you sometime. And, but that's, so Ned and I go way back, even though I don't think I ever met you when you came down to buy the car.
I didn't.
But I did. I had a great time.
I met your sister instead, Betsy.
How do you know that?
So that's my story. She doesn't. Now somebody else's story.
Did your brother pay you back?
Did he pay me back? Yeah. As finished as he paid me.
We do, but what it really boils down to at the end of the day is the people. I mean, look around. This is why we come on these tours. The people. Everybody's sitting at these tables. We've all got a common interest, and everybody just mixes well together. The next thing you know, you get new friends that you've never had before. So, thanks, Drew, for setting this up.
I've been on 13 of these now, and I do a little ritual at the end of every one of them. The last day, the last few miles, when I think I've finally maybe made it, I slow down, I take out the earplugs, and I listen to the lifters and the rumble of the muffler, and just go really slow into the parking lot and kind of wrap it up. And for me, that's always a thrill. And I came to I think for the group, I think the way to look at this evening is to not think of it as the end of a year or the end of a trip, but the beginning of the year till the next trip. So, cheers. Thanks, Drew.
I'd like to say, I've been on 21 of the trips. Marty's been on 22, but they can only count 21. Because we ended up in a rental car, because ours broke at the last minute. I hate the last day of our tours. I want them to keep going for another 4 or 5 days. We love them. We have had a ball. And like everybody else has said, it's about all of the people. And we can never say enough thank you, Janet and Drew. It is so much work. And every one of us appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Slightly embarrass our guest, Peter and Gail. And this is not Cobra lore, but I think you'll appreciate it. The other night I mentioned to Peter, I said, I have a friend that I think owns a BRE 510. And he said, I don't know this guy's name's John Baldwin. John's a good friend, a good car guy. Some of you probably know John. And I called him this afternoon. We were busy, and didn't have cell service, so I got here and I got relaxed, and I called him. And I said, what 510 do you have? And he says, well, I have the Bob Sharp car. And I said, well, Peter, he has the Bob Sharp car. And Peter said, yeah, I remember that car. Well, the next thing that John, or Baldwin said to me on the phone was, not only do I have that car, I have to tell you a story about Peter Brock. He said, when I was in college, I started a race team. I got the dean to let us start a race team in school. And he bought an old 510, and because it was a college deal, there was people that gave him money and so forth, so he got some stuff together. He went to California, and he went to see Pete. He said Peter Brock treated him like $1 million sponsor. Now this is back in the 60s BRA days, or like in late 60s, early 70s. Spent all day with him, showed him all their setups on Morton's cars, showed him the 240Zs and everything, and just spent a whole day with him. He said, not only that, I took it to the first race in some little track in Stuttgart, Arkansas, and I won my race, and Peter Brock sent me a congratulatory letter. And I just want you to know that's the kind of guest we have here, and the kind of class this guy is.
Let me do this while I'm crying. Good timing. So as you know, we stopped in Thermopolis today for lunch, and we went to McDonald's. We're high buck eaters, and Dave and Woody, of course, were there as well. So we were all having lunch, and a gentleman local came up to us, and he starts to ask, well, is that one of your guys' red car out there? And Peter says, yeah. And guy says, oh yeah, I know a guy, he's got a couple big sheds and he's got this car and that car. And he knew all about cars, and he's looking at us and we're wearing our little tags, and he's looking around and he says, standing here though, what I can't figure out is why does your tag say Peter Brock on it? And the moment he said it, he realized why it's in, and he said, I am so stupid. He said, I'm looking at his tag and it doesn't say Peter Brock. Why do you get to have your tag say Peter Brock?
Gail just got up and talked about stupid, which is a great segue into me. I have met so many of you over the years on the telephone, and I've met a number of you at conventions and other Cobra meets and all that kind of stuff. And for those of you who I finally meet in person, this is great. And those of you who I've known, it's great to see you again. This is a fabulous event, and I hope that we might get invited to another one day. Thanks.
At
our gas stop today, he gave one of the cashiers a ride. It was the highlight of her life. She has screamed and yelled and told everybody in town, and he does it every trip. And it's such a wonderful thing to share with everybody else. Thank you.
What did she say? Come on.
Oh, I don't.
So we drive in, and she's sitting on the bench having her cigarette, and she's going, yeah, yeah. You guys have just left. She's like, whoa, I get another wave of these things. So I said, well, get in the car, and she's like, you kidding me? I said, no, get in. And she gets out, she says, this is better than sex, and come on back. One of the reasons I do it is because to be the ambassador to the little community that we're in, whether it be in Fairmont Hot Springs. We were in Fairmont Hot Springs, and they had a big water slide. And the biggest kid of them all, Lynn, was like first in line. And the way I got everybody, nobody had to pay. They could have as many damn rides as they wanted. So I said to the kids running the top and the bottom, I said, you guys just get in the car here and let these guys have all the fun. And that's what they did.
Thank you.